Few things are as important as finding the right doctor. And under Obamacare, that's harder than ever. Over a third of our hospitals no longer available. Our doctors no longer covered. Fewer choices, longer drives. No state has been harder hit than us. And even after watching it impact New Hampshire, Congresswoman Ann Custer still supports it. Call Ann Custer. Tell her Obamacare isn't working for New Hampshire.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for another 30 minutes of news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com. GrokTALk. Halfway point in the show. Welcome to the third segment. It is the 10 o'clock hour. That's Eastern Standard Time for those of you listening in other parts of the country, farther and farther westward, where we do have listeners. Hi.
Morning.
Welcome to GrokTALK.
Certainly. Brought
to you by GrokTALK.com and the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers here in the lovely CNHT studios in beautiful downtown Concord, New Hampshire. The heart of all that regulation and stuff we were just talking about with Kathy Rago, who's running for New Hampshire State Senate. Thanks to Kathy for coming in.
Sauron's just up the street under the gold dome.
That's all right.
Well, this is, Concord, New Hampshire, the Granite State's heart for Kool-Aid drinkers. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And if you have a hankering for Kool-Aid, this is where you need to be.
This is where you need to be.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to bring up for our listeners, while Rick was telling his story about Representative Al Baldessaro, I remembered I had put up a post a long time ago, 2008, the Marine Maze. You can now see it on the live stream. This is what Al does. He doesn't care what kind of barricades, what kind of nooks and crannies or convoluted corridors there are. He gets to the heart of the matter very, very quickly. And frankly, he doesn't care who he ticks off.
Which is why when the picture from his wedding with all the people in the wedding party holding weapons, firearms, got picked up by some Democrat lunatic. I don't remember which one it was.
If I got a story,
was it Peter? Was it
Lisa Whittemore?
Was it Whittemore?
I believe so.
All right, and that got national attention.
And another one got national attention. Debbie just happened to be flipping through the channels yesterday, and I guess Meredith Vieira has her own talk show now, and she was putting up sort of their version of our WTF moments. And there's 5 ladies from a wedding in their wedding gowns, the maids of honor. They're all holding rifles. And you could hear the utter disbelief in her voice. And when they first put the picture up, you heard the audience all go, I'm going, so? It'd be nice if Meredith was able to actually call them what they were.
What if they were holding drinks? Alcoholism kills more people than guns.
Or knives. Bats.
Well, if you're in the mood to have your head explode, all you got to do is watch Good Morning America. That I swear, I sit down, my wife, she has Good Morning America on, and I says, I'm going to get the duct tape. And I wrap duct tape around my head so it doesn't explode.
Yeah, do not watch single-digit TV.
I don't.
I like that.
My life, I rant a lot because that's fun.
Yeah.
And I poke fun because it's fun, and I'm snarky because it's fun. But people have to understand, I don't make a ton of money, but I've managed my life in a way that for the last few years, my life has been very peaceful. It's really nice. It's comfortable. It's not extravagant, but I don't have a lot of stress in my life. I just don't. And this is just a hobby, right? Get miniature goats. And part of that is I don't watch TV news. I just don't. Because I know none of it's anything I want to hear.
The last time
you want to be peaceful, you have high blood pressure, stop watching TV news.
Last time I watched Channel 9, that's the MUR in Manchester.
Yep.
Karen Appel was the talking head. Last time I watched CBS, Dan Rather was on.
Yeah, but you can watch Channel 9 because that's not hard news. That's puppies and kitties.
I'm playing it. My clicker never stops on Channel 9.
Is that pre-K news?
Has anybody, speaking of
Why
news,
would you even bother?
Not necessarily the news.
Has anybody watched, and I've got a couple shows DVR'd at home, but Bill Binney's new Binney Media NH1 News at 10 o'clock yet? supposedly it's brand new format because it was on for a while and then they stopped, and I guess they've done a revamp. So I was.
Well, I know he
curious.
said he wanted to bring a different kind of news to New Hampshire, so maybe he did.
So you
We
could
had
dress
him
them
on,
all up as Easter bunnies and have them report, you know.
I could, yeah.
We had him on
ISIS
WLMW when he was a candidate. He was a pretty interesting guy. So I should probably keep track of him.
Yeah, I remember one debate. He wishes that we weren't there.
Yeah, he had his
Meltdown.
yeah.
Yeah, that was at
So
the
he went-
Rochester.
He had his Howard Dean moment.
He went freeform.
Yeah.
yeah,
off prompter.
yeah. This was when at the Rochester 912 debate with. First they had the Congress folks and then the senators, and obviously Jeff Chittister set the stage where he said, I hope you all have your constitutions with you. And they all thought this debate was all about them. And they had no clue it wasn't. It was about the constitutions and then the current events. And then they were on the outside trying to look in to see how everything was.
So they weren't
and Bill,
prepared.
well, a couple of them, I will say, did very, very well. But Bill Binney said the thing not to say when your audience knows more about the Constitution than you do, which is like the separation of church and state as it says in our Constitution.
Yeah, see?
Dead silence.
Yep.
More dead silence. And Jeff Chittister said, Mr. Binney, I have a Constitution. Please show us where that is said. And he lost it. I get lawyers to do all that stuff. When I have to deal with that, I'm
Apparently
thinking,
he does.
Well, the people you're representing aren't. They don't.
He needs new lawyers.
Well, that's the lawyers I'm familiar with.
but then
I know.
why are we supposed to elect you as one of our chief
You
lawmakers?
could elect your lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And we probably had.
You probably have, yeah. He's probably running something somewhere.
There's an editorial in the Concord Monitor today by some fella. The name doesn't matter. He's a progressive. And he's looking to have, hopefully, Hillary doesn't run and a real progressive runs in her place. And when you look down at the
Warren,
guy's... I don't know what the guy's name is. But
you didn't build that?
in any case, he works for the Social Security Administration.
Of course.
He's like a regulator, basically. And I think he's an attorney as well. So
An
that gives you the
expert.
mindset of they prefer dictators, the smart people.
The guys down in Maryland say that Martin O'Malley is running for president. So those of you...
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, he's no longer governor, right? They have a term limit. He's
I don't
term
remember
limited
if
out.
he's...
Yeah,
I
he's
think
term limited
Yeah,
out.
what else is he going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been here a couple times, and we kind of have bandied about that. But they say, even though he hasn't formally announced, they're positive he's running.
And he's bat crap crazy, too,
He's
right?
nuts. He's
Yeah,
nuts.
well, he forced Beretta out of Maryland,
Yeah.
going back to
Good.
some of our earlier statements about guns and
He
stuff.
should wear that.
Run,
like a
gentlemen,
badge of
run.
honor, right?
Come on
Yeah.
up to New Hampshire. Run.
Well, that's the thing. I've been saying this for years, and there's a post out there saying, there's, oh gosh, I just lost
The
it.
years slip by when you're on your new medication.
Yeah, in a week. No, something about Fool the Rubes style of campaigning.
Yeah.
I mean, if a lot
Oh,
of these
right, yeah.
Democrats would
That
act-
works. I mean, look, we got Scott Brown as a nominee, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it does work. And
Well,
No.
speaking of Scott Brown,
yeah.
I've been kind of polling and yeah, I've been polling and watching the Facebook, and it's already begun. Okay, the election hasn't taken place, and all the moderates are blaming the
Conservative.
extreme right.
Yeah.
The conservative wing. One such poster actually said, "The conservatives are damaging this country." He actually
Well,
said that.
I just put up last night the latest thing. That Ace of Spades now has a new website. The Ace of
Decision Desk?
the Decision Desk, and I'm going to
Polling.
the polling. Yeah, I'm going to put it up.
Synopsized, they've come up with a way to poll faster and more accurately than the news media. So if there's an election going on, they've reached all these contacts and stuff, and they
They're
can get the information and
fast.
the actual polling data, and they can post it faster than the news.
That'll last for about 2 years, and they'll be taken over by left-wing nutbags. Right?
Well,
Yep.
Ace of Spades is pretty conservative, so I doubt it.
Yeah. So I'm putting up the chart, and if you look at the chart real quick, you can see that Brown has already peaked, and yet he was the anti-Shaheen type person. That he was the only one who could beat Gene Shaheen, and right now he's a fading.
And maybe they're
Yep.
polling actual Republicans.
yeah.
Well, the nice thing about Ace of Spades is
Oops, sorry, that was me.
Sounds pretty good.
give us a buck.
Sounds cool. It gives a buck. Yeah, we need a tip jar. future.
And I guess everybody was so happy. Well, he won 50% of the Republican vote. And it's like
50% of the Republican.
50% of an underperforming primary turnout vote.
That's what it is. Yeah,
it also
quite an achievement.
It also means that 50% of the Republicans didn't think you were worth it.
Yeah, I got half of about 10% of the Republicans.
Yeah.
Which was an accomplishment because everybody else only got a quarter. So, anyway, that's we'll see what happens. We've been talking about that a lot. I know we have some challenges with the candidates that won the primaries, and that's really what happens. A lot of people get despondent about that. Like I said, I'm at peace. That's just the way it is, and I'm going to go vote, and I'm going to talk about the issues, and I'm going to talk about the Constitution, I'm going to talk about what we need from candidates, and we may not have that, but maybe somebody will learn something. Maybe somebody will learn about voter fraud. Maybe somebody will realize that you do have a right to defend yourself. Maybe somebody will go, oh, the abortion isn't in the Constitution. Oh, the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution. I mean, we just keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. I started retaking Hillsdale's Constitution 101 class, the video lectures again. I highly recommend you go sign up for it. It's free. They got about 15 or 20 different courses on all kinds of different things. It's like 40 minutes in video. Do it once, twice, 3 times a week. A couple weeks, you'll be done with the course. If you want to take the test, you can. Doesn't make a difference. But the information that you get is so different from anything else you've ever probably heard. And they only use source documents. They don't have textbooks or anything. You can get their constitutional reader, which I own, which has all the documents in it that they reference. But they didn't write them or they compiled them. This is historical documents going all the way back through written history.
Original source
material that they use to explain where our founders were coming from, why our government's made the way it is, how it's supposed to work, and even what went wrong. And, if you don't know who to believe, I mean, these guys aren't selling an agenda. They're not telling you to be Republicans or Democrats. They're just saying, here's the documents. This is what they said. Here's who they were thinking about when they wrote them. See how this plugs in here? Okay? Then you go make your own friggin' decision.
Okay. I know that...
Or just look at your tax bill.
I know a lot of people got kind of ticked because at the NHGOP annual meeting a week ago today, a number of people were walking around with the sticker that's now on the live stream. John Langdon, U.S. Senate. John Stark, Governor. They are some upset, and coming back to the original idea of the conservatives are ripping us apart. Steve, I mean, you couldn't have put it any better if you had actually tried. It isn't being Republican or Democrat, and that's what everybody who gets mad at Granite Grok, and sooner or later we're going to tick everybody off. We're not trying to pull the Republican Party to the right.
It's on the bucket list.
Oh yes, near the top. We're trying to pull people back down to our foundational roots and start acting according to that. We've said it over and over again, folks, that if the Republican Party would actually do what it says it's all about, we'd have almost nothing to write about.
Here's the scary part. Life and government and in general would be easier. Easier, because there would be less crap to deal with. Ed wouldn't have to spend all this time running from town to town helping people deal with their municipalities because they're full of a-holes. Little power-hungry fiefdoms, chiefs who think own...
We'll always have a-holes.
Well, we will, but when your government's oiled and greased and running the right way, you'd have less of them because the people, they wouldn't believe that they are above the people or the law, which is really the problem. Well, you're always going to have those people, but...
Right, but it's up to everybody else to say, you're out of bounds, stop it, or we will throw you out of bounds. And the problem is too many people are no longer involved. I get that we should have government being the 4th, 5th level down, that we shouldn't even have to worry about it. But the fact that is that we have to. That is the problem. And that's why we do what we do. And when we put up stuff like, the John Stark and John Langdon stuff, we're trying to send a message saying, follow your own rules. Right off the bat, at the NHGOP meeting, they decided not to even follow their own bylaws. They made a farce of it. The fix was in, to the point where I turned over to the little AV, thank you, and I get the applause line ready, that I looked over at the AV alcove, and there's Matt Mowers, the executive director of the NHGOP, with the Sergeant-at-Arms, supposedly Matt Mayberry, and they had cut the mic for the audience, trying to protest, trying to do the point of order, and I turned around and said, What? You guys really had to cut the mic to stop your own people? Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, if they would just follow their own rules. I mean, they get mad at us. They say, well, the principle is that you have to vote for the primary winner. Now, I don't see that in the bylaws. I don't see that in the platform. But it's there. That's accepted. That's part of the social contract. That's an unwritten principle.
I don't see that from the rhinos.
Yeah, well, I said...
conservative wins. So.
Well, I am now saying...
Yeah, it's a never-ending story.
I will follow your unwritten principle as soon as you start following all of our written ones. They kind of look at me really, really funny.
They can look at you funny for the next 90 seconds or so. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
We are struggling. Rising healthcare costs are part of the problem. Senator Jean Shaheen helped create this mess we're in. As a state senator, her bill chased 21 insurers out of our state. It reduced our choices, raised prices for New Hampshire families, and when Jean Shaheen supported Obamacare, it limited access to 10 of our 26 hospitals, reducing our choices again. Tell Jean Shaheen she's made healthcare worse.
She tried to make us believe she was a fiscal conservative, but State Senator Nancy Stiles has been deceiving New Hampshire taxpayers. Like a wolf in sheep's clothing, she claimed to be one of us, pretending to blend in, but all along voting like a liberal Democrat. She voted to raise your gas tax by another 23%, taking a bigger bite out of our wallets every time we're at the pump. And oh, how she drooled at the opportunity to vote to expand Obamacare, which will result in higher taxes and longer wait times in the emergency room. And now the Senate wants to pass a bill to prevent us from criticizing Senator Stiles' vote. Call Senator Stiles at 603-918-0553 and tell her that we're on to her wolf in sheep's clothing routine. Tell her to stop pretending to be a fiscal conservative and start voting like one. Paid for by Citizens for a Strong New Hampshire.
We have music overlap. Look at that, I doubled it. Let's try this. There we go. Welcome back. As I turn microphones on. Ta-ta-ta-ta. Check us out on Stitcher. Get the iHeartRadio app. Tune in. Spreaker. iTunes. YouTube. Ustream. We are your conservative, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, blah-de-blah-de-blah.
She laughed.
I know she did. She did.
She thought it was amusing. Yeah, we're going to have this for a while.
So, hey, my show, damn it.
He's taken over, guys.
Tyranny. No.
Well, of course, anybody who has control of the soundboard, like Matt Mowers did.
He did, right. So, wait, does that mean you tell me I can just turn your mic off? And like, wait, here's my impression of Matt Mowers. Go ahead, talk.
Well, here we go.
There you go. We had to fit that in there. All right, Rick's going to be leaving us comments. I didn't want to leave you hanging out there without any other topics to discuss. So we squeeze a few more in, and then we want to talk about vote fraud, because that really is, until we fix the vote fraud problem.
This violates rule number 1. Not happening.
Very little else will make much difference. And so, Rick, is your gun range going to get built, dude?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Come hell or high water, it's going to get built.
You have a time frame, you think?
Well, we're looking at November 1st breaking ground. But, you know, there's other stuff that wouldn't be fair to blame the town entirely for all the delays. We had an engineer that was, for lack of a better, really lazy. You know, let me tell you about his personality. He's a guy that wouldn't say crap if he had a mouthful. Okay? You know, he always says he's utilitarian in his speech. He only says what needs to be said, and he's a quiet guy. So when I would call him up and ask him what the status was on the 20-year or the 50-year drainage program, and he gave me 5 paragraphs, I knew there was a problem. So the engineer, you know, we got our conditional approval in November of 2013. Okay. He did nothing with the project until March. In other words, he didn't work on.
So he
any
basically
of the
took off the hockey season. and then got to work after that.
If he follows hockey, I'm amazed, but I think he follows badminton.
Badminton?
Yeah.
Thank you for saying it correctly.
Yes. Badminton with hand grenades. That's what I want to see someday. But, yeah, basically...
Talk about a hot potato. Yeah.
I'm just really aggravated, But, I mean, we had... I was sharing with you during one of the break. I had a little Second Amendment defense of my own last weekend. I don't know. You probably didn't hear about it, Skip.
No.
At 3:50 a.m. last Sunday morning, I was sound, fast asleep in my bed when my doorbell started
Somebody's
ringing.
calling.
Oh, somebody is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I wasn't kidding.
Oh, wow. Who's
Maybe
on
it's
the line?
Susan. Somebody was calling.
Susan.
Oh, yeah, so somebody came to your door.
Yes, this individual in a black hoodie at 3:50 a.m.
We're not even on.
came to...
Plug us in.
Oh. We probably missed him.
You missed it.
Darn it. Call back.
Call back, my friend.
We had a technical problem. There was an unplugged cord. So, intruder alert.
He's my daughter's upset, my wife is upset, and this guy's running around my house wearing a black hoodie, mind you. Think about the home invasions they've had in Manchester and
want to keep up the stereotype.
People wearing hoodies. So, to make a long story short, the guy was at my door. He wouldn't tell me why he was there. So I stuck a .45 caliber pistol in his face and told him to back up.
I'll have Steve turn you on.
And that's where he stood like a statue till the Manchester police arrived
Rick
and straightened him out.
How long did that take?
Oh, well, they were there fast.
Were they?
Remember, my wife is on 911 telling the police my husband's got him at gunpoint.
Yeah, once you say gun,
So
they show up.
They got there like really fast, and they were decent about it,
So
too.
if you just called them and said gun, they'd show up. Hi, who's on the phone?
It's Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
How are ya?
Good to have you on. What's up?
Well, I'm down here at the Manchester Gun Show with the Women's Defense League. And we're trying to explain group therapy. As we know it. And,
hold on.
You said group therapy. Will I see you this afternoon?
beg your pardon?
You said group therapy. Will I see you this afternoon out at the range?
Well, not this afternoon because I pulled duty all day.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Well, it is, but it's kind of fun because we have some really wonderful milk chocolate shaped semi-automatic treats. So I can stand here and look at men and eat chocolate. I mean, what more could an old lady want?
Susan, is it crowded?
It's funny you asked that question. The show this year is 2 weeks earlier than she has normally held. And there aren't as many guns here as usual.
Oh, because every year people go annually to certain events in their season, so I imagine that would mess up some of the people who would show up with stuff for sale.
Well, yeah, and the walkthrough crowd's pretty good, but in terms of vendors, although this year this is so cool, there's a guy right across from the Women's Defense League table that's selling body armor. I've never seen that.
Body armor, cool.
Yeah, and in the upcoming election, who knows? But what's kind of very cool is we've got an amazing number of women professionals.
Yeah? Yeah.
Well, Susan, this is Skip, and I have put up the Women's Defense League website on the live stream. We have a new feature. Well, actually, a feature I used to have when we did this from Liberty Studios in Guilford. So we can do websites, and you folks are there. And, I think that this is a great thing. Explain what this group does.
Well, it's a relatively new organization, but the group of women who are involved have been involved in firearms safety and training in New Hampshire for many, many years. The Women's Defense League of New Hampshire is a New Hampshire-based tax-exempt organization, and our mission is to educate and train women in self-defense, primarily firearms, But we do other types of training, situational awareness, safety in the home things. We have open invitation shoots twice a month at an outdoor range and an indoor range. And among the officers of the Defense, we have probably a half a dozen women who are NRA certified instructors, and one of them is a rifle instructor, which is kind of cool. We have certified range safety officers. So either as an organization or individually, we train an awful lot of women in handguns, and now we're doing training in rifles. And we get to come to gun shows and hang out.
Sounds cool. I wish I had known earlier. Didn't find out about it till last night. It's a little late for me to be running down. But yeah.
Well,
Everybody.
To answer anybody's question, anybody's touch, calling there is no 22.
I'm sorry, say again?
There is no 22 long rifle here.
No 22 long rifles?
Oh, drat.
Yeah, and we don't want to...
Is that what you're looking for?
Early, and I had a request to see if I could locate a couple of bricks of 22, and there's none to be found.
Is there much ammo there at all?
Oh, there's plenty of ammo.
Just not 22.
Just not 22, yeah.
Well.
That's everything else you want.
God bless America, huh?
God bless America is right, yeah. So, Team Block's here, the Ruger guys are here, Prince Dallas here, the body armor guys, as I mentioned, a couple of ammo manufacturers, some folks out of Vermont called Appalachian for years, and they do good stuff. They started producing rifle ammo for the first time.
Susan, we got to go.
Okie dokie,
We
boys.
reached the
We'll
hard
have
break.
fun.
All right. Thank you so much for calling us. Manchester Gun Show. Get your butt down there. See you later, Susan. We go. Just go. Just go there. All right. That's the end of segment 3. We're coming back in segment 4. We're going to talk about things like domicile, residency, and voting, because that's important. We will be right back.
New Hampshire is famous for scenic drives, but they're tough to enjoy when you're on your way to the doctor. Because Obamacare limits your choices, some will have to drive more than an hour to see a doctor. What's health insurance worth if care isn't there when you need it? Jean Shaheen voted for Obamacare, putting your doctors and hospitals further out of reach. Tell Senator Shaheen, Obamacare is not working for New Hampshire.
She tried to make us believe she was a fiscal conservative, but State Senator Nancy Stiles has been deceiving New Hampshire taxpayers. Like a wolf in sheep's clothing, she claimed to be one of us, pretending to blend in, but all along voting like a liberal Democrat. She voted to raise your gas tax by another 23%, taking a bigger bite out of our wallets every time we're at the pump. And oh, how she drooled at the opportunity to vote to expand Obamacare, which will result in higher taxes and longer wait times in the emergency room. And now the Senate wants to pass a bill to prevent us from criticizing Senator Stiles' vote. Call Senator Stiles at 603-918-0553 and tell her that we're on to her wolf in sheep's clothing routine. Tell her to stop pretending to be a fiscal conservative and start voting like one. Paid for by Citizens for a Strong New Hampshire.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Croc TV.